Hello, everyone. As you are bringing yourself in and getting settled in and ready to go, we would love for you to introduce yourself in the chat. Tell us who you are, where you're from, and maybe what your favorite holiday tradition is. How about that? Who are you? Where are you from? What is your favorite holiday tradition? I'm gonna type it in the chat so we have it.
Oh yeah, Roberto, my kind of guy, tamales guy.
Alice, yes.
Hey Jeff, good to see you here. Thanks for being here. Hey William, good to see you, brother. Thanks for being here.
Rob likes Christmas lights. I do too. Awesome. So for those of you just jumping in, again, who are you? Where are you from? And what is one of your favorite holiday traditions? All right. We're going to get started here in just a moment. As people are still joining, we love to hear who is here. You can even tell us what you do if you want to share what you do to help people. We would love to learn that as well.
So Nicole, Willie is from Venezuela like I am, and we're actually friends from back when we were kids. And he just gave the big H word, ayacas. They're like the most delicious Venezuelan Christmas dish that we have. So
Ooh,
that's
yeah.
I'm in alignment with that as well. So
Interesting. I've never heard of it. What is it?
it's like
Like
a
dessert or like a
cornmeal, kind of sweet cornmeal that is stuffed with either like it's beef, olives, raisins. It's got all these delicious, it's like a beef stew type of flavor, and it's delicious. You could put hot sauce on it. It's very
yeah.
similar to tamales, like the Mexican tamales, but it's got some more, different little things onto it. But should we get
Yeah.
kicked off?
Let's do it. Let's do it. So welcome everyone who is here. Hello, Shara. I just saw that you commented. Um, Obviously, we're here for a very important reason. You see it right there on the screen. How do we get more clients in 2025? However, I just want to take a moment and ask all of you to give yourself a pat on the back because you're here giving your time and energy to something that is going to help you and help your business and help more of the people that you're looking to serve. So I want to commend you for taking time out of your day. Something that I've been saying a lot lately is that professionals practice. And the fact that you're here says a lot about your professionalism and the fact that you want to serve your clients at a higher level. So welcome to this presentation that we're going to share with you about how to get more clients in 2025, and make sure you give yourself credit for showing up because this is really important to your success. So before we jump into what we're going to cover today, Carlos and I are going to introduce ourselves because some of you know us, some of you don't. And I think it's always helpful to have a little bit of an understanding about who we are and why we're here in front of you. Carlos and I met because we are both Exactly What to Say certified guides. Some of you have heard about the book Exactly What to Say. If you haven't, I would strongly encourage you to look it up, check it out, get yourself a copy. The reason that Carlos and I were both drawn to it is we're both sales coaches and we understand the importance of language to influencing people. Obviously, if we're looking to make more sales, we're looking to have a higher level of influence. And our influence is increased when we know what to say, when to say it, and how to make it count. So I am a sales coach. Like I told you, I'm also a speaker, and I have been running programs for about 7 years now as a coach, coaching programs that help people understand how to be more confident and more competent when they sell. And I own TNC Speaking and Coaching. And as I said, Carlos and I met because we both believe so much in the work of Exactly What to Say and became certified guides. So Carlos, why don't you introduce yourself as well?
Awesome. Thanks, Nicole. And yeah, we had the opportunity to meet, and we've got so many things in common that we decided to collaborate and saying, hey, we have a shared mission, which is to impact and help business entrepreneurs and those who are in a place where they're having conversations to acquire new clients or get more from existing clients. And we realized that with that common mission, we can create a greater impact. And so my background has been in retail sales, in the financial services industry, and just doing some more, business coaching and business consulting. But it's always come down to knowing exactly how to articulate your value, how to be present in conversations. But at the end of the day, being an effective communicator can either make or break a lot of the relationships that you're trying to build, especially if you're in high stakes situations. But more importantly is, how do you build credibility really fast with people who don't know who you are, so that you can get them in the door for the opportunity to get to know who you are? And that's what we're here to talk about, is business development and client acquisition, which often, when you're working with prospects that you're trying to nurture, and knowing who are the right type of people for you to target that are going to give you the ROI, that are a fit for your focus. And so we're excited about today's program, and can't wait to share more with you.
So as I mentioned, you're all giving your time to be here today, and time and attention are the two most valuable things you can pay anyone with. And I think it's really important that we first visit why you're here. If you're giving your time to something, let's make sure that we are very intentionally giving our time towards it. So what I'd like to hear from you is, why are we here? And I'm going to share a couple of things to say why I think you might be here. And I bet you're here because maybe you're looking to make this next year better than you have any other year. If that sounds like you, give me a 1 in the comments. If you're looking to make 2025 a better year than any other year in your business. Maybe you're here because you had some great plans for 2024 and they didn't quite come to fruition. Maybe you lost your way a little bit. Maybe some things diverted your attention in your business. If it feels like you didn't hit your goals in 2024 that you set out, give me a number 2 in the chat. If your goals for 2024 weren't quite met, give me a number 2. And no judgment, no shame. Trust me, I have goals that weren't met in 2024. Carlos does as well. We're both going to be sharing with you a little bit about, we're business owners, right? We set goals. We don't always meet all of the goals, but that's why we're here, to understand a little bit better how we can make that happen in this next year. And I bet you might also be here because that feeling of overwhelm, like, yeah, I want to have a good year. I want to set some goals so that I can achieve some things in my business, but I feel a little overwhelmed and I'm not sure what to focus on. Give me number 3 in the comments if that sounds like you. You're feeling a little overwhelmed. You know that there's a lot that needs to happen in your business and you're not quite sure where to put your time and energy. Feeling a little overwhelmed. So number 1, if you know that you want to have a better 2025. Number 2, if you know you didn't quite achieve the goals you were looking for in 2024. And 3, maybe you're feeling a little overwhelmed and feeling WTF. One of Carlos and I's favorite acronyms, probably doesn't mean what you initially think it does. WTF in our world means where to focus. And a lot of times that's where people get thrown off in their goals, is they aren't quite sure where to focus. And I just gave 3 of what could be many reasons. So I would love to invite all of you to share in the chat, what else comes to mind when you think about why you're here today? If there's anything I didn't cover in these 3 reasons, what are some other things that come to mind about what's most important to you about being here today?
And Nicole, while we wait for maybe some folks to add a little bit of context as to their why, I'll tell you, sometimes it could be all 3. Like we just had someone, private message me, like, can I say all 3? I'm like, yeah, of course you can say all 3. We're all feeling that way. I mean, even Nicole and I, in reflecting, because we're part of a mastermind, we talked a lot about what were some of the successes and then what are the things we learned that we can implement towards next year. And it can feel that way. And sometimes it requires for us to first put it out there, to expose, to know what the problem is. One of the best ways for you to solve a problem is to first expose it. Like, take some time to literally say, what is the problem, and try to look at it from different angles, because it's in the discovery and in the search of why the problem is where it's at and what caused it. Sometimes the solution is actually built in, you actually saying out loud what the problem is. So this is the first step. It's recognizing it and not being blind to it.
Identifying it. This is a little bit of an out of context analogy, but what it made me think of when you said that, Carlos, my mom was diagnosed many, many years ago with cancer, and fortunately she's doing well. But when she first got diagnosed, they couldn't and wouldn't treat anything until they actually got to the source of what was actually causing it. And Carlos made a really good point just now when he said, we've got to figure out where the challenge is or what it is that maybe has held you back from creating that success. Because until we know what the problem is, we don't know how to approach it. So that's one of the things that we're going to cover today in our agenda. We don't want to just tell you, here's how to go make, get more clients in 2025 and make it a great year. It's also, well, let's just make sure that we revisit maybe what held you back so that we know how to move past that moving forward. So I think we've all shared some really great things in the comments. And I think we could summarize all of that with what's on the slide right now. You're ready to make 2025 your best year yet. Whether it was overwhelm that held you back, it was lack of focus, it was you set some goals that you didn't achieve, like whatever it was, you're actually here to make 2025 your best year yet. And the good news is it's exactly what we're here to deliver. And here's how we're going to do it with this agenda. Our agenda, number one, is to answer the question, how do I get more customers? Because that's what you all signed up for. The way we advertise this is come join us for an hour. Our gift to you is we will share with you how to get more customers in 2025. So we're going to answer that first and foremost. Second, we're going to do what's called a SMART action plan. You may have heard of it, you may not, but ultimately, what gets measured gets done. Or what gets done gets measured, right? However you want to look at it. So we want to help you create a plan so that you know where to put your focus. Also, as I mentioned, Carlos and I are both exactly what to say certified guides. We believe so much in this communication work and this methodology. So we're going to share some phrases with you today that will help you get into more conversations and close more of those clients that you're looking to work with in 2025. We also know that there's two types of people. There's those of you who know that you can take the recommendations we make here today and go take action on them and have success with it. And there's those of you who know that having the support and the accountability is really critical to your success. So the good news is we've got a special offer for those of you who know that support and accountability is really important. We will be sharing with you a little bit today about a 4-week boot camp that we have coming up in January to kick off 2025. And then last, we have some more good news. We've got a part 2 to today, because we don't want to completely make you drink from a fire hose and give you a bunch of information all at once. We want to help you take some next best steps after today. And then our additional gift to you is a part 2 on December 30th, where we will be teaching you how to build a highly effective list of prospects. So not only are you going to understand how to get more customers, you'll have a list of names that you can go take action on, get in conversations with, and turn those conversations into clients. So before we jump right in, now that we know our agenda, we know what we're going to cover, we know why we're here. We've all shared reasons in the chat. Why are we here? What are we doing? Right? We're giving our time towards something. And I would say that we're all here because there's something that didn't work the way we wanted it to in 2024. We set some goals, we did some things that we thought were going to pan out, and they didn't. And Carlos and I want to be fully transparent and share with you that that happened to us too. I think no matter who we are, we're entrepreneurs, we're growth-minded people. We always want to set goals. Not only is it important to set goals, it's important to debrief the past year and go, okay, what goals did I set that didn't come to fruition? And I know for me, and actually Carlos and I together, we set some goals for some of the work that we're doing together. And we realized that we've also got other, I hope it's okay that I'm sharing this, Carlos, but in full transparency, we also each have our own businesses and we wear a lot of hats. And we realized that there's nothing wrong with the goals that we set, but we've reevaluated how could we make more success with our goals in 2025 and get a little bit more focused towards those. And that's really important in the debrief. So that's what we want you to do right now. Think about, well, where did I set goals? And did I hit them, or did life get in the way, or did something else get in the way? I want to hear what Carlos has to say, but I'll share one more thing that I know was really impactful for me over the last year. I set a big goal for myself around my keynote speaking. And I knew I wanted to get very intentional about showing up and being visible as a speaker and creating more work as a speaker. And I set some big goals last year. Not only did I set the goals, I got really clear on what they were. I typed them up in a Google Doc. I hired an accountability coach, and I met with that person on a regular basis throughout the entire year, it shouldn't be a surprise to me that I hit every single one of those goals that I set. And I did so because I put the right support in my world. I got very intentional about what those goals were. I wrote them down on paper, right? What gets measured gets done. And that's one of the benefits to you being here today is we're going to show you how to do exactly that. Get focused on what's most important to you and create a smart action plan so that you are taking the steps towards achieving those, not getting to the end of another year where maybe you didn't create the goals and the success. Carlos, what would you share about your last year and maybe where it did or didn't work out the way you wanted it to?
A couple of things. There were some personal goals that I felt were more important, and I'm glad that because I was able to accomplish my personal goals. For some of you who do know me, you know that I travel a lot. I gave myself the freedom to be able to work from Europe for like 2 months and still stay in business, which was incredible. But that definitely slowed down a lot of my business opportunities. But I felt like it was worth it because there was just so many other rewarding things that got in the way. So, but I do feel like the goal that I set, my revenue goal, was a little bit ambitious and it wasn't realistic enough. And when we look at the SMART action planning, one of the acronyms for the word SMART is realistic. So creating a realistic goal is helpful. A second thing that in reflection, as I was listening to you as well, Nicole, is sometimes saying yes to too many things. And are saying yes to certain things that are not giving me any ROI. Am I saying yes because I'm being a people pleaser when really it's not my role, it's not my responsibility, it's, maybe I'm giving away stuff to too many partners or stakeholders or friends or however you want to call it, and I'm not either getting paid what I'm worth or I'm not getting the ROI that I needed, or it's not feeding into my top priorities. So as you reflect on, is there a time this year that you may have said yes to a certain type of prospect, partner, or relationship that did not really align with what your actual goal was? And how can you be more courageous to, maybe not say yes to those things and elegantly say no to it and explain the why behind it? So working on that. And then the third thing I think is called shiny object syndrome, which we often, whether you're an entrepreneur or you are, a professional service provider, or you're a professional working in business development, there's a lot of shiny objects that can distract us. So in other words, distractions, right? So what are the distractions that are not giving us the ROI? Not necessarily saying yes to people or things, but is your attention really going to get where you put your attention? Is it going to give you the ROI that you need? So often I do get lost in placing too much of my attention in areas that is not going to give me the ROI that I need. So I think between your reflections and mine, I'm sure some people, can connect to some of those learning opportunities. But it's good to reflect on them, because once you understand them and put a label on them, it helps you become more aware how you can be more present. And as you said, Nicole, intentional coming into next year's plan.
Carlos and he and I even have a little funny joke where we'll send DMs back and forth to each other on Instagram where it's like a meme of someone wearing too many hats. Because one of the things
Yeah.
both realized we've maybe in, being ambitious as we are, as many of us are who are here, that's why we're in business, right? We have ambitions, we have goals, but we realized, oh, it's very important to make sure that your yes means yes and your no means no. And sometimes we have to just take a step back and go, how can I make better decisions for myself moving forward and only wear the hats that I know are most important to me to wear? Right. So debriefing is not meant to be judgmental towards yourself or shame yourself. It's, oh, where could I clean things up and get more intentional about the things that do matter the most to me?
And I'll give you an example. Maria just triggered an inspiration too about nonprofit. I mean, I know many of us like to be in the community and do good for, and there are certain levels of capacity that we can have that we can bring back to the community. Some of it is strategic to your business development, some of it because it makes your heart sing. But if it will get in front of your ability to make your mortgage, right, or pay your rent, or be successful in your career and maintain your job performance at where it should be, then it's something you have to think about. And I had a specific relationship 3 years ago with a nonprofit in a industry that is non-related to what I do. It was actually like an early childhood care center. It was a daycare center. And I love that area because when I was much younger, I used to actually work in that industry, but it was occupying so much of my capacity and I was traveling and I needed to have said no. And so mustering up the courage to be able to say no, but also no with a plan. I was able to find a resource that I was able to hand it off to someone who did want to go in that space, who was passionate about it. But all of that energy that was drawing me away from being able to focus on revenue generating activities, being able to take that off my plate allowed me to create more focus for the things that I wanted. So sometimes it's identify that big thing you're saying yes to, and could you build a plan around learning how to, still serve it in a way where they get what they need and they get the impact that they need, but you take it off your plate so you can focus on the things that are most important to you. It's huge.
Yep. And let's just talk briefly before we jump into our smart action plan. What's the cost of inaction? What is the cost of you not understanding what are the most important activities for you, where you need support? What is the cost of that? Well, let's talk about that. Number one, it's probably lost income and opportunities, right? So it impacts your business, it impacts your top line growth, potentially your bottom line, depending on where you're putting your resources and your energy. It also feels frustrating, right? When you're hitting goal or not hitting goals that you set for yourself, it can feel frustrating year after year and a little defeating. And I think probably most important is we all are in business because what's a business for? Build relationships with people and help them solve their problems. We like helping people. The cost of inaction is not just about you. It's about the people that you're looking to help. And unfortunately, when you don't understand where your time and energy is best spent and how to get the support that you need, the cost is actually to not help the people that you actually care about helping. So you're helping fewer people. And so the cost of inaction sometimes can feel safe staying stuck. But when we really look at, oh, what's going on? I'm not helping people that I said are important for me to help. My business isn't growing. And I'm feeling a little bit low morale because I'm feeling frustrated that I'm still in the same place. So inaction actually does cost us. Everything costs us. It's what cost feels more uncomfortable to you. And I would hope, knowing that you have a big heart and knowing that you love helping people, that the cost of inaction, the cost of helping fewer people actually feels more uncomfortable. And I know that that's true because you're here right now and you're ready to make more of who you are. Which leads us into what the next slide is, which that's what we all want to do, right? This year doesn't have to look like last year. It doesn't have to look like the year before. 2025 can truly be the year that you come alive. Sorry for the cliche, but not sorry. It can really be a different year for you as long as you're willing to focus differently than you have in the past. And your focus is your faith. Your focus is your faith. So let's make sure that we're really clear. What is it that I need to focus on? Who is it that I need to focus on? Where are my revenue generating activities so that I can make 2025 intentionally the best year that I've had? And what we're going to do to be able to help you with that is Carlos is going to introduce you to something called a smart action plan. Because if we just start taking action without a plan, we're kind of going to what's the word? We're going to spread ourselves too thin. We're going to be working and putting effort towards things that may not actually be leading towards what we want them to. So it's just like getting in a car and starting to drive. If you just get in a car and start to drive, where are you going to end up? You don't know. I don't know. None of us know because we didn't have
Nicole,
a
you
goal.
ever see the comic of Tom and Jerry? I think it was Tom and Jerry where there's like a hole coming out of the wall with water, and then like Tom tries to put like the finger to like stop the water from coming, and then another hole with water
Pops
comes
open.
pops open, and then he
Yeah.
uses that, and then he's got his foot to cover the other one and the foot to cover the other. That's
Yep.
kind of what it would look like if we don't have the plan, right? It's just we're just
Right.
constantly reacting.
We're reacting, not responding to something that we've intentionally created. And that's what we want you all to know how to do is to respond to the plan that you created so that you're in control, not feeling like you're out of control because there's water over here and water over here. And now all of a sudden you've got leaks everywhere. Well, let's create a plan that you can focus on, that you can work in a wash, rinse, repeat style so that by the end of the year, even if you didn't, maybe you hit a really ambitious goal or you set a really ambitious goal and you didn't get completely there, at least you made such progress that you see the opportunity to continue on that path and reach that goal. That's what this is about. What's your plan and how do you focus on that plan to make it come to fruition? So Carlos, do you want to share with us the
Yeah. So before I do, there was we had the opportunity to host an event for a huge conference this year. It's called the Reframe Conference, an event. Nicole had the opportunity to be a table facilitator, and we talked about a lot of concepts, and many people were super motivated. But after day one, we could tell that it was a little bit of a lot, right? It was a bit overwhelming. So we needed to sort of take a little bit of a pause and make things a little simpler, because there was a lot of content going through people. And so as you start getting a lot of content, you start getting excited, but you can also start getting a little bit overwhelmed. So we were able to narrow it down into the 3 biggest reasons why a lot of people that go to an educational event tend to kind of leave either a little bit confused, and which then impacts their confidence level of wanting to execute because there's not enough clarity, and it gives them questionable commitments towards the execution. So we hope to help you leave with today is 3 things. Is with clarity. So if you want to write these, if you're a person that likes to write things down, this is a good time for you to write it down.
This is your moment.
Get clarity and ask yourself this question. What is the clarity that I need in order to help me, drive the outcomes that I want? The second thing is confidence. And in order to gain confidence in anything that you do, like you think about riding your first bike, you got to first practice. You got to put yourself in the experience of doing it. So the next question you should ask yourself is, what is the experience, or what are the experiences that I need to put myself through to build confidence in that skill or in that space? In this scenario, we're talking about getting new customers. What is the experience that you have to put yourself through in order to get customers? I think many of you know what that is, right? Whether it's marketing or sales activities. And the third is commitment. What are the commitments that I need to make to myself in order to make that happen, right? And so just think about those 3 questions before we go into the framework, because we can easily give you this framework, but there's a very popular quote that goes that, education without implementation is just entertainment. So we're not here to entertain you today. Or yes, if you liked it, great. Give us a thumbs up, and we appreciate entertaining you. But if we're talking about intentional action, let's talk about things you can implement. So if you were to implement, again, just imagine what would happen if you had the clarity that you needed to execute, if you put yourself through the experiences to be confident in repeating those things, so you could have higher levels of conversion in getting more customers in front of you, conversations in front of you that you could potentially turn into real clients that will give you more predictable and consistent growth in your income, and then ultimately give you that confidence to grow. This is possible if we take control, if we become intentional, if we implement what it is that we want to try to achieve. So let's talk about a smart action plan. A smart action plan or a smart action goal is, simply put, spelling the word smart with these specific words. Whenever you set a goal of some form, typically when and Nicole, you could probably attest to this, when you have a client and they say, what is it that you're looking to accomplish? What is it that you're looking to achieve? The typical answer that we get is a vague goal. Like, I want to get more customers. I want to make more money. I want to increase my income, right? I want to grow my business. And sometimes these are words that we call suitcase words, where it could mean anything. So you have to ask yourself, if your first level outcome is you want to get more income, you want to get more customers, you want to grow your business, what does grow mean? What does more customers mean? What does grow your income mean? So the first concept you have to think about is being specific. And if you look at the bottom left, we break down the specific, the measurable, which is what the M stands for. Like, get a unit of measure that you can commit to so that you can get to that specific outcome that you're looking for. You can measure this monthly, you can measure it annually, you can measure it quarterly, you can measure it daily, or you can measure it weekly. It all depends on what makes sense to you. If you were to ask me, this is not something I would measure daily. It would be a little bit too intense, but maybe you could start measuring it weekly or monthly just to help you get into the rhythm of things. The other thing you want to think about, whatever goal it is you set, the SMART should be the breakdown of how to help you get very specific, how to make it achievable, how to make sure you have a measurable unit of number. And the number doesn't necessarily have to be a result. It can also be an activity. So if you know what's the thing you need to do before you achieve the thing you want to get, the thing you want to get is more customers. Well, ask yourself, how many customers? What's the average ticket, or what's the average commission, or what's the average sale of what a new customer gives you per month? If you know that it's $1,000, but your income goal is $10,000 a month, then you know your answer is you need 10 clients per month. If you know you need 10 clients per month, that's the measurable and that's the specific. Is 10 clients achievable? Maybe not. Maybe you need to get 5 clients that pay you $2,000 a month. That could be more achievable. So you start really thinking about where you place your focus. Is it getting more units? Is it more volume? Or is it more quality relationships that you're looking to achieve, depending on what kind of business model you're in? The next thing is it realistic in terms of, do you have enough bandwidth and capacity and resources to be able to help you get in front of the activities that you need to do in order to get the conversations that you need so that you can convert into the number of customers that you want to get per month, per quarter, per year. And then ultimately set specific milestones as far as a time frame goes. Because I could easily create by 2025, I want to make $1 million. But if the distance is too far away and I'm not creating check-in points in between, it could be very hard for me to get to that big number if I'm not making adjustments in between. So like sort of when you're in a race, you got to have checkpoints. So this is the same concept. If you're going to go to a long destination, something past 6 months or even past 3 months, you want to have some checking points to make sure that whatever activities you are committing to is giving you at least the outcomes or the probability or the predictability to get to that quarterly, semi-annual, or annual goal that you have. So let me just pause real quick, and Nicole, any reflections on the concept of how to build a smart action plan?
Yeah, I think I want to even take that. I mean, amazing explanation, because this is setting up the system and the understanding of how to achieve these goals. And I want to go back to something that you said at the very beginning. This is not necessarily an annual thing. Carlos mentioned you could do this on a monthly, quarterly, biannually. And I would recommend that you do, because you always want to check back in and see, where am I at on the progress towards my goals? And does this goal still make sense for me, for what I'm working towards? You know, a lot of the things that we do in business can change. And we want to be able to be flexible with, is this goal still working for me? Have I already hit the goal? Do I need to set a bigger goal for myself? So I think just checking in as well, knowing that once you set it, part of what you want to do is continue to revisit it to see, do I need to tweak it? Do I need to change it? And, you know, one of the letters in the acronym is be realistic. And sometimes when you're checking in with it, you might find out, was I a little too ambitious? Can I adjust it for myself? But that way you're always developing a relationship with your goals, not just setting goals and then just shooting towards them. But you want to really be in touch with what they are, and are you on the right path to getting there?
Yep. And I'm just gonna throw a goal I put here in the chat. Okay. I'm just gonna put something that could be in alignment to something someone wants to get. First of all, you probably, if you're an entrepreneur, you have different levels of revenue sources, right? In my scenario, let's say that I say by March of 2025, I want to get $40,000 of income by not locking in 1 corporate training, 4 coaching clients, 2 speaking engagements, and 3 consulting deals. So if you really think about it, I'm being very strategic and specific about like, if I can hit all of these things, I will get to my 40, probably, maybe more. And that's more or less how my revenue gets split up. Now I have to circle back, and here's what I'm going to do. I'm not the one teaching anymore. Guess what? You probably didn't know what you signed up to, but now you're going to coach me. What would be the next question you would ask me? You're on the chat now. You're going to ask me some questions to help me get there. Thinking about the SMART action plan, and I can go ahead and put it back. What would be some questions you want to ask me to help me get closer to that goal? So go ahead and type in the chat. What would be some questions you would ask me? Will I evaluate these monthly or quarterly? Good question, Rob. I'd probably take a look back doing this monthly. It would be a long enough time for me to have the activities needed to know if I'm on track. If I know that it's 3 consulting engagements, I probably want to get split it up into 1 per month. How will I track this? Great question, Tracy. I'll probably put it in a CRM tool where I can create a specific goal. And I will also create some activity goals for myself. What kind of outreach and marketing activities will I create in order to help make sure I'm on track to get the conversations I need? Would I need to hire help? Yes. I'm loving the questions. And
Yeah.
Maria, Maria, what I would switch here, if you were to ask yourself the same question, is switch the would I need to hire help to an open-ended question, which would be, what kind of help will I need to help me get there? So in my head, I have a VA, a virtual assistant, that can help me, use all of the videos that I do and cut them up. And that takes capacity and time off of my plate so I can focus on doing outreach and talking to people, right? So you just got to think about the same questions. What type of businesses do I want to coach? Very good. Where will these businesses be? What size of businesses do I want to coach? You got it. Accounting professionals, financial professionals, sales leaders for financial institutions.
The power of specificity.
See, so going through this exercise of actually coaching me might be helpful for you to ask yourself the same questions. But the importance of building a goal is to try to narrow down as much specificity as you can. And it's helpful when you're brainstorming it with a group. And I'll give you one huge takeaway. Where is there a tool right now that is available that you can brainstorm with, that is not a human being, that is with technology, that can probably help you achieve through this? Some of you might use it now. You probably use it to help you write emails. You probably use it to help you solve other problems and get more information. I'm not talking about Google. That's right. AI, ChatGPT. So just imagine if you go to ChatGPT and say, ChatGPT, you are officially now my business coach. I want you to ask me questions to help me achieve my 2025 goals. Ask me one question at a time so that I can get narrowed down what is that I need to do. Additionally, ChatGPT, I'd like you to help me build a SMART action plan goal. Go. So now that you gave it the instructions, you gave it the parameters, you gave it the role, you gave it the content and the context, maybe that can help you get closer to where you need to. So doing some things here that are not just like the typical things that we're talking about is like, how do we adapt and use technology to be more creative in the way that we're building business planning? However, at the end of the day, it's all about knowing exactly what to say, when to say it, and how to make it count. So we want to share with you one skill that you can immediately walk away with and implement. Because remember, we talked about education without implementation. It's just entertainment. We want to talk about implementation. So Nicole, can you share a little bit about this wonderful framework that EWTS shares with us and how we can leverage it to start, restart, and continue conversations?
Yep. So as Carlos said, we've given you the framework around how to build a SMART action plan. Now that you're going to be able to get more focused about what your goals are, the next step is for us to help you get into more conversations about those goals. Because if you have a goal, there is a conversation that will get you there. I can assure you that. The good news is, as I mentioned, we also have a part 2 to today's presentation. And in part 2, we will be helping you make a list of prospects. but don't let the wait for part 2 be the reason you don't take action today. So now that you have the structure for a SMART action plan, we're going to teach you 2 phrases, 2 magic phrases that will help you start to get into conversations today around what your goals are for 2025. Because you know those people that wait until January 1, they're like, January 1, I'm going to change everything. There is no reason for you to wait until January 1st to start towards your 2025 goals. So this magic phrase that's up here, I want you to go ahead and write down opening fact question. That's exactly what you see on the screen. That's what the card says. However, I don't want you to go get in a conversation and say opening fact question, because that's not actually the phrase. It's a formula for it. So right next to where you write opening fact question, I'm going to tell you what each of these 3 parts mean. And here's the really cool thing about this magic phrase. It is a rejection-free opener, which means you don't have to fear rejection when you're using this phrase to get yourself into a conversation. Here's what the 3 parts mean. Opening is a polite opening, meaning just be a human. Start a conversation. Hi, my name is. Then the second part is fact. And the fact needs to be a mutually agreeable fact. Maybe someone has recently opted into a lead magnet that you have. You could say, you recently downloaded my PDF for 10 tips to grow your investments. So opening is a polite greeting. Fact is a mutually agreeable fact. Question. Here's the key to this magic phrase. The question needs to be an easy to answer question. And I'm going to give you an example of all 3 together. Hi, my name's Nicole of TNC Speaking and Coaching. You recently attended one of my talks and you downloaded my 23 questions that sell. Did it download okay? Hi, my name's Nicole is my polite opening. You recently attended one of my talks and downloaded my PDF. That was my mutually agreeable fact. That's a fact that we can both agree on because that person was in the audience at one of my talks. My easy to answer question is, did it download okay? And you might be like, well, Nicole, it's 2024. Duh, it downloaded okay. We all know technology. Yeah, you might be thinking that way. And I might already know the answer that it downloaded okay. But you know what I want to do with this statement? Here's the key to all of it. I want permission to be in a conversation. I want the question that I'm asking to be so easy to answer, so almost silly. It's not silly, but almost so easy to answer that they automatically do it. Because here's what happens so often. We don't have permission to be in a conversation. We end up trying to dump a bunch of information onto somebody and we hope that they respond and then they don't. And then we're like, where do I go from here? And then we get in that endless chase of following up and chasing somebody. Well, let's stop chasing. This is probably one of the best things you could hear in today's presentation about how to get more 2025 clients. Stop chasing people and start earning permission to be in conversations. And you do it with this OFQ. That's what we call this phrase, OFQ, opening fact question. Hi, my name's Nicole. You recently attended one of my speaking events and you downloaded my 23 questions that sell PDF. Did it download okay? And then they say, yeah, because of course it did. Great. What was one thing that you really liked on the download? Oh, I really like this and this and that. Now I'm in a conversation. And the conversations are where we earn more context. We show the person that we care about them and we move things forward in a direction that benefits all of us. Carlos?
That's great. I'm writing some things down. It's some other examples that we can leverage for an opening fact question. And it's helpful because, if let's say you've got a cold prospect, I'm just typing in the chat a couple of examples here. Hey, my name is Carlos. You may not know me. That's an agreeable fact. But I have a lot of experience helping people achieve XYZ. So if I were to talk about, helping accounting professionals, get paid more, attract higher paying clients, is this something that is a priority to you? It's like, which person that is in my target market will say, no, I do not want to make more money. No, I do not want to get paid at a higher rate. So understand who your target client is and understand their biggest pain points. You could say something like, hey, you may not know who I am, but we have a lot of experience in helping this target market achieve this specific goal, which you know to be a fact, because if you are an expert in your field, let's say you are an accounting professional who helps small business owners have better accounting experiences, or maybe have access to clarity in their numbers so they can make better decisions for their business. Is that a priority to you? That could open up, like you said, permission to get into the conversation about how you could potentially be a someone who solved that problem. When I was in the bank and I used to do prospect, and I would say, hi, Carlos, hi, my name is Carlos, and I'm calling from your local branch here in Weston, Florida. And you may not know who I am, but I'm actually a relationship manager, and I help small business owners achieve their financial goals to get access to capital. Is that something that's of a priority to you? Net coming in 2025. And that just opens up the conversation. They may say, I'm happy with your competitor. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Thanks for reaching out. And you could potentially get into the next conversation. If you saw someone that was in a networking event and you're just trying to start the conversation, the opening could be, hi, my name is Carlos. We recently met at that NAREP real estate, convention a couple of weeks ago. And, you mentioned that you own a blank company. And that this was a priority for you. Is that still something that you're looking to achieve in 2025? So it could be something as simple as that. Or did you like the event? So the idea is not to make the person think too much. Don't ask an open-ended question, especially if you're coming in cold. Let's say you had a proposal. You sent someone a brochure or a flyer 6 months ago, and you want to restart the conversation. You could say something to the effect of, hey, I know, 6 months ago we talked and you said that your business is currently going through some changes. Are those changes still happening? Has anything changed since our last conversation? Something that can give you a yes or no answer. So it just kind of politely opens the door to the bigger conversation.
And I just want to say one more thing. You can't lose with this. And what I mean by that is Carlos mentioned you might get a yes, you might get a no. Either answer is a gift. If they say yeah, like to Carlos's question, is this something that may be a priority to you? If they say yes, cool. Now you're in a conversation where they've expressed some level of interest and you can kind of take it in that direction. If they say no, well, as a business owner, one of the most important things we can know is where to put our time and energy and focus. And if somebody says no, it's not a priority, they just gave you a gift. You know that that is not the person to focus on right now because that's not a priority for them. And that's okay because they are not rejecting you. They're being honest that that's not a priority. And now you know as a business owner, okay, then I'm going to move my time and energy over to the people who would be ready. That's
The other
all it
thing that, yeah, the other thing to that, Nicole, I have gotten places where people say, no, that's not a priority. And then they volunteer what is a priority.
Mhm.
And the good news is that we could also help them with that priority. So it just closing the door on one thing could open the door to another thing. And then to
Exactly.
your point, when they're saying no to something, they're not saying no to you. They're saying no to it being the thing, the problem, the solution that they need. And they may also be saying no right now, which is why the OFQ, the opening fact question, is so effective when you are nurturing those prospects. So one mindset trick for you is when someone says not now, let me think about it, reach back out in 2 weeks, 2 months, which can be somewhat exhausting or deflating. Remind yourself they might be saying no right now, and they might be saying no to it, which means that they could be opening the opportunity to say yes to something else.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
but some of this requires resilience and persistency, and that's the world of business development.
and I think the resiliency and the persistency also comes back to something that Carlos just said, and I'm going to take it one more step further. It's not a popular thing that I'm about to say. Not only are they not saying no to you when they say no, they're not saying yes to you when they say yes. The answer that they're giving is not about you. They either want some form of the solution that you have, and they see you being able to help them get that, or they aren't ready to make it a priority. And so they're saying, no, it's not a priority. But either way, we've got to remember, in order to keep being persistent, we've got to take ourselves out of the equation. They're not saying yes to you. They're not saying no to you. What they want is either a better way of doing things that they're not able to do on their own right now, or they don't want to make it a priority and they're going to keep on business as usual right now. But either way, nobody's rejecting you. Nobody is, it's about you offering a solution to somebody that may or may not be something that they want to focus on. And if they don't, that's okay. And if they do, cool.
So Nicole, to recap, I know we talked about the importance of recognizing what didn't work in 2024 so that we can make sure we have a clear path. How do we have the clarity that we need, and what kind of experiences do we need to put ourselves in front of to have the confidence to be able to commit to the goals that we need to achieve? We can do this by creating smart action plans, being specific, measurable, make sure that it is attainable, it's realistic, and within the proper time. And then ultimately, could we use a specific rejection-free opening, like an opening fact question, to help us get into conversations, continue conversations, or revisit past conversations that we left behind? And the good news is that if you are someone that really enjoyed, and we noticed that many of you stayed here till the end, it's probably because you've been seeing some of the value that you've gotten out of it. And you feel like you might need the additional support and need the right strategy, the right accountability, and be part of a group of like-minded folks like yourself that wants to take really intentional action in order to get the results that you want, then you can join our boot camp, which starts January 9th. The good part of this is these are 90-minute sessions of Nicole and I giving you more detailed, specific things that you can say, strategies that you can execute. And it's a multiple way conversation. It's not just Nicole and I being a talking head. These are literal people who are jumping on and doing Ask Me Anythings with us. Well, how does that work for me? And how does that work for my situation? And this is my obstacle. So we get to truly get in there. It's a group coaching format. There is some teaching and learning content, but the magic is in the group think, in the group conversation, and you truly being able to say, this is what I'm stuck with. And Nicole and I can kind of help you custom craft your strategy, what to say, what to do in those situations with real customer examples so that you can get quick wins. Because for us, this is not rewarding and impactful for us if we know that we can't give you something you can immediately get ROI on. So what we're super excited about is that we've had, this is our third cohort or fourth cohort that we've done, Nicole. And in every situation, like after week 1 or week 2, we get quick wins, right? People saying, oh, I leveraged this phrase and it got me an appointment, or I said this in this moment and it got the proposal closed, or I was able to follow up with that client that's been dragging their feet for like 6 weeks and I got back into the conversation. That's ultimately what we want you to do, is increase your rate of conversions, increase your rate of confidence in knowing exactly what to say in those uncomfortable moments so that you can show up your best version and you can help more clients, which is the ultimate outcome that we want. And if there is an early bird special, and the code, we're going to type it in the chat to get $100 off. If you register now, is Jan25, you'll get $100 off, and it's 4 weeks, 90 minutes each session. They are recorded. What else am I missing, Nicole?
We start the 9th. Oh, it says it right there. We start the 9th of January. And I think the really fun thing to point out as well, a lot of people I noticed in the chat were having responses to that OFQ, the magic phrase. There are 32 total magic phrases. And like Carlos said, we're here to share information and also teach application. And we want the application of these phrases to feel very custom to you and your business. That's why our 90-minute format, we do 4 90-minute calls. It runs so that you are able to get coaching and support on how to apply these phrases specifically in your own goals. So for those of you that were like, okay, I hear your example of OFQ, but I don't know how I'd use it. That's exactly what we meet on a week-to-week basis to help you with, is how would you use this in your conversations so that you're moving those conversations in progress towards becoming clients. And so for those of you who need that little kick in the butt, who want the accountability, and not just that, but also want to see the tools that can make you stronger at what you do, that's what this boot camp is going to give you. The tools, the structure, the accountability, and the customized coaching. And as I said earlier, there's two types of people on this call. There's those of you that are like, cool, I learned a couple things from you today. I'm going to go take it and run with it, and I'm going to make something of it. And then there's those of you who are like, I love everything you presented and I want to get a little bit more support and I want to learn some more magic phrases and have some accountability around starting my year off right. For those of you that know that having support is really important to your success, then we would love to encourage you to check out the boot camp, make sure that it's for you, and then use that Jan25 code to get yourself $100 off and put yourself in a community of really growth-minded people who are looking to elevate the way that they communicate.
Yep. And, you know, I'm not sure if it's for you. I think you see it right there. That's one of the cards. Yeah, this thing doesn't work that well. Okay, great. I'm not sure if it's
There
for
we go.
you, but how open-minded would you be to being part of an experience that helps you transform the way you have, you know, you communicate to people? Because I bet you're a bit like me. You're looking at these words and you're saying, I could never say something like that. But like Nicole said, there are two types of people in this world: those who want to stay comfortable in where they are, but not getting the results that they want. And then those who are willing to take the risk because they know that the reward is always pays more than the risk itself. And the way that I see it is you have three options. You could do nothing and get the same results that you want. Furthermore, you could just try this on your own and probably get results that are not going to be favorable, or you can take a chance, bet on yourself, and see the rewards that you can. So if we can help you get the outcomes that you want, then would you be willing to be part of this journey with us? So what these are, Roberto, these are the actual role play cards of the magic words that we teach you in the 4-week boot camp. So we get a chance to play at leveraging specific magic words in specific circumstances that taps into the subconscious so that it helps you and it helps the person that you're trying to communicate with influence them in a positive way towards decision making. And that's what we're ultimately trying to do. We're professional mind maker uppers. We are decision catalysts. And these are the frameworks that we get to teach you through the boot camp so that you can have it in your back pocket and know exactly how to leverage it so that you can help others make decisions with confidence. This is not about manipulation. This is ultimately about communicating with clarity, with confidence, and with intentionality. And that's what we want to try to help you achieve by working with us in this. So, Nicole,
And if
final
anyone
thoughts?
has questions, please reach out to us. We are both very active on Instagram. And if you are wondering whether this boot camp is right for you, feel free to reach out. Also, if you scan the code, the QR code that's right there, you'll be able to see the details of the boot camp. So if there's specific dates or details that you're looking for, we strongly encourage you to download that. You do have a limited time to take advantage of the early bird special. And if you're still like, I don't know about these two, let me just test drive this a little bit further. The good news is on December 30th, you'll get a chance to do exactly that. So if you'd like to just check out what we offer a little bit further before you make a decision, please sign up for the December 30th class. If you just reach out to either one of us on Instagram, we'll be happy to share the link with you for that. In the meantime, if you're a fast action taker and you already know 2025 is the best year you're ever going to have, we strongly encourage you to get into this boot camp. The results that we've had, like Carlos said, this is our 4th cohort, and the results that our clients have created has been really incredible. I mean, I know one of them attributes thousands of dollars in revenue to his business, to understanding what to say and to know how to do it confidently. And it's been really incredible to watch the people that have been creating those results for themselves. And we hope that if that's you, you'll be one of them.
Thank you, everyone. Wishing you happy holidays and hope to see you on December 30th again, if not on January 9th for our boot camp. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye, buddy.